Hey everyone, Patrick CK here. As you may or may not know, among all of the things I'm interested in, photography has been one of my oldest and most endearing passions. Today I'm bringing you a 1-year follow-up on a camera I didn't get a chance to review when I first got it. So consider this video a mix of review and long-term impressions. I still consider myself an intermediate skilled photographer, so this review is geared toward beginners and those looking to take their photography to the next level. Back in early 2024, I began researching a replacement for my Canon Rebel T3. After 12 years of flawless performance, major props to Canon for its reliability, it was still working beautifully. However, it was time for an upgrade, especially with a big trip coming up that would involve a lot of photography for myself and a client. My goal was to find a camera focused on photography, so I looked at features that would elevate my still photography game at a reasonable price. The Canon EOS R7 immediately stood out with its impressive specs. A 32.5 megapixel aps-c CMOS sensor, the powerful dual pixel Digic X processor, a 15 fps mechanical shutter, and up to 30 fps with an electronic shutter. When I purchased it, the R7 was priced at $1,299. While not exactly cheap, it offers exceptional value for what it brings to the table as a photography powerhouse. I opted to buy just the body at that price since I already had a specific lens in mind, the Tamron 18-300mm telephoto lens. I'll be making a review and impressions video on that lens soon. Every image in this video was shot using that lens. A link to buy the lens, the camera, and a copy of almost every photo will be below. Over the past year, I've taken the R7 on trips to Alaska, Seattle, Vancouver, all over my native Georgia, and to a few racetracks. The results have been nothing short of spectacular. The speed and autofocus of the Canon R7 were game changers from day one, and they continue to impress. The dual pixel CMOS AF2 system has 651 autofocus points with animal detection, which is incredibly reliable for tracking fast moving objects, like these low-flying geese over a lake. The R7's autofocus locked onto the bird's eye and kept up as they flew by and landed on the water, something that would have been a struggle with my old camera. The performance of the buffer, which is the temporary holding area for photos before writing them to the memory card, has also proven solid. I don't recall hitting the limit at any point over the last year, even in wild animal tracking burst shots. While UHS 2 grade SD cards are recommended for optimal performance, I found that high quality UHS 1 cards, like the Samsung Pro Ultimate, work nearly as well. With write speeds up to 200 megabytes per second, these cards are comparable to something like a Pro grade brand UHS 2 card, which reach 230 megabytes per second, but at a fraction of the cost. For example, a 512 gig Samsung Pro Ultimate card costs around $55. While a Pro grade at the same size is more than 3 times as much at $160. And when shooting in RAW, where each file averages 42 megabytes, capacity quickly becomes a priority. For my needs, the extra storage offered by UHS 1 cards outweighs the minor speed advantage of UHS 2 options, especially when the Pro Ultimate cards handle burst so well. Link to the Samsung cards will be below. Speaking of SD cards, the R7's dual SD card slots are a fantastic feature that adds both flexibility and security. You can set the second SD card as a backup, duplicating every shot to both cards, for added peace of mind, or use it as extended storage, effectively doubling your capacity. This was something that was missing from the Canon R8 that I actually bought first before returning it. Another standout feature of the Canon R7 is its in-body image stabilization, or IBIS, which makes a huge difference, especially for handheld shooting. The IBIS ensures images remain sharp and steady even in less than ideal conditions. Whether I'm capturing wildlife, landscapes, or action shots, it's incredibly effective when shooting with longer lenses, where even the slightest movement can lead to blur. This feature is particularly crucial for me because I often shoot handheld, and having the stabilization built into the camera means I can rely on it no matter which lens I use. It's one of those features you quickly take for granted until you realize it's missing, which was another miss on the R8. One of the things I truly appreciate about the Canon R7 is its control layout. Coming from the Canon Rebel T3, I felt right at home with how everything is organized. It's familiar and easy to navigate, even with the added features and new buttons. For anyone who has used a Canon camera before, the transition to the R7 is seamless. That said, even if you're new to Canon, the controls are intuitive enough that you can pick it up and learn quickly. The placement of the dials and buttons make adjustments feel natural, whether you're changing shooting modes, tweaking ISO, or accessing menus. It's a camera that works with you, not against you, which makes the entire experience much smoother. Another thing I love about the Canon R7 is the variety of shooting modes it offers, making it easy to adapt to different scenarios without missing a beat. Personally, I find myself primarily using the landscape mode and sports mode. With just a quick switch, I can always have the best setting applied for the shots I'm aiming for, whether it's capturing sweeping vistas or fast-paced action. The R7 offers a mode for virtually every situation: portrait, macro, night scene, and even creative filters. I rarely venture into manual mode. It's not that I don't appreciate the control that it offers. It's just that I'm usually shooting in environments where the scene changes quickly. Playing around with manual settings while trying to keep up with dynamic moments is not ideal. Or maybe I'm just too lazy to fiddle with it. Either way, the preset modes are so well designed that I don't feel like I'm missing out. One of the standout features of the R7 is its phenomenal battery life. Using the LP E6NH battery with a 2130 milliamp hour capacity, I've consistently been able to take over 500 photos on a single charge. And that's with heavy use, including frequent autofocus and burst shooting. For a day of shooting, whether I'm hiking trails or at a track event, I rarely find myself needing to swap batteries. To put this into perspective, the Canon R7's battery life is almost twice as good as the R8, which uses a smaller 1450 milliamp hour battery. And in my experience, it couldn't even make it to 300 shots before needing a recharge. The weather-sealed body of the R7 has been a lifesaver. From dusty trails to unexpected downpours, it's handled everything I've thrown at it without skipping a beat. The magnesium alloy body still feels as sturdy as the day I got it. The design of the ergonomic grip is perfect for my hands, making the camera incredibly comfortable to hold even during long outings. This is something I found sorely lacking with most Sony cameras without adding additional small rig components just to hold it comfortably. The vari-angle screen has also been a valuable addition, especially for those hard to reach angles, though I still prefer using the Viewfinder most of the time. Speaking of the viewfinder, one adjustment I had to make with the Canon R7 coming from a DSLR is that you need to turn the camera on to use the viewfinder. With a DSLR, you can scout a shot through the optical viewfinder even when the camera is off, which is something I took for granted. The R7, like all mirrorless cameras, use an electronic viewfinder or EVF, which means the camera has to be powered on for it to work. It's a small difference, but it did take some getting used to. That said, the trade-off is worth it because the EVF offers a real-time preview of your exposure, white balance, and focus adjustments. Once I adapted, I found the EVF to be fantastic and didn't impact battery life as much as I thought it would. Now, speaking of powering on the camera, one concern I had going from a DSLR to a mirrorless camera was the boot time. Basically, how long it takes from turning the camera on to being ready to take a shot. I'd read complaints about other mirrorless cameras that suffered from frustratingly long startup times, sometimes taking several seconds to power up. Naturally, I was skeptical about how the Canon R7 would perform here. Thankfully, this turned out to be a non-issue. The R7 powers up and is ready to capture a photo in under 2 seconds. I haven't encountered many issues with the Canon R7 yet. It simply works when I need it to. There's been one rare hiccup that I've noticed. Occasionally, the camera will perform a rapid focus search from one extreme to the other, rendering it useless until I power it off and on again. Once restarted, it works perfectly again. I haven't pinpointed the cause yet, though it might be related to a minor tumble I may have took in Alaska. Thankfully, it's an infrequent problem and the camera performs flawlessly otherwise. It's worth addressing something that many people have asked me. Why not just use a smartphone? And don't get me wrong, my Samsung S25 Ultra has amazing cameras and is great for quick shots and casual use. But when it comes to serious photography, there's still no comparison to a dedicated camera like the Canon R7. The larger sensor, advanced autofocus, and ability to pair with specialized lenses gives you creative control and image quality that no smartphone can replicate yet. For a closer look at how a real zoom lens compares to the zoom on a smartphone, check out my blog post where I break it all down with plenty of example shots, link in the description. After a year with the Canon R7, I can comfortably say it's one of the most versatile cameras I've ever used. From its speed and image quality to its durability and advanced features, the R7 has consistently exceeded my expectations. What's even more impressive is that I've barely scratched the surface of everything this camera has to offer. With so many advanced features packed in, there are tools and capabilities I haven't even fully explored. Yet it still manages to amaze me every time I use it. Stay tuned for the next video where I'll dive into the camera and lens I paired with the Canon R7 and why it's been the perfect match for my photography adventures. You won't want to miss it. If you're considering an upgrade or looking for a camera that can handle landscapes, wildlife, and more, the Canon R7 is a powerhouse that won't let you down. Link to buy it on Amazon will be in the description. I hope you enjoyed the photos and the review. Like and share if you did. Until next time, this has been Patrick CK. Goodbye.